This morning I was at St. Mary's Church in West Point, Nebraska, celebrating my last uncle's life and funeral. Now, he was 93 years old, a wonderful man who really had a wonderful life. And he was so ready to meet his maker. He was delighted that the hour had finally come. And it was a great celebration. We had a church full of family and friends, and I'd say 90% were practicing Catholics, at least I think. And it was evident in their responses and the music, and it was just very uplifting. In my homily, I talked about the different times that our lives intersected and how he had an impact on me just in very simple, ordinary ways. Now, today we're celebrating Jesus coming to the end of this particular stage of the mission. Since the resurrection, he has been appearing to the apostles any number of times so that they knew that Jesus was risen and that it was the same Jesus who was here before, but he's in resurrected form. And Jesus knew that this could only be for a while because he had to prepare the church, the apostles, for the next stage. And I'm sure he was concerned. He was concerned because he wasn't sure that these 12 apostles knew what they were doing or what they were about. Were they ready for the mission? And so he's praying for them all the time. And he's preparing them for the ascension, where he will leave. And he's preparing them for the coming of the Holy Spirit. Now, they've heard about this Holy Spirit, but they have no idea the difference that this would make. He would transform and transfigure this new church and would give them the courage that they did not have up until this point. And you can imagine the apostles. They were certainly intrigued by this Jesus, having been with him and then experienced his death, his resurrection. They probably didn't really have it all together, but the Holy Spirit would help them pull it all together. And so Jesus is preparing them. How? Well, last week, if you remember, he gave a new commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. By this shall all people know that you are my disciples. Not by the love you have for me, but by the love you have for one another. This is my new commandment. And it's a radical one. Notice he says, this is how people will know that you are my disciples, by the way that you love one another. I think that's very striking. And the reason I like that passage is because when I started St. Charles Borromeo, that was our mission statement. And I hammered away at that so people would behave and love one another. Maybe it did some good. But then Jesus goes on to prepare them for the Holy Spirit. He's talking to them about it. They're not sure what to expect. And then he gives them another gift. He says, my peace. I give my peace to you. You are in my heart. I am in yours. I will give you a peace that the world cannot give. And that will strengthen you and maintain you so that when the Spirit comes, you will be ready. So this week, we celebrate the Feast of the Ascension, where Jesus ascends to the Father. And 10 days after that, we celebrate the Feast of Pentecost. So as we listen to the apostles' experience, Jesus with them, Jesus ascending, sending of the Spirit, we might use this time, this prayer, to asking the Holy Spirit to be open to his gift. We're all kind of like candles. All of us through our baptism are lit candles. But after a while, a candle suffers from from dimness because of the wax build, and sometimes the candle even goes out. So let's ask the Holy Spirit to reignite us, that we might be receptive to his will and that we might be his missionaries, carrying on the mission, not in extravagant ways, but in little ways, day by day, with those we live and move and talk and love.